Welcome, Sonder family. It is really good to see you. Or maybe be seen. I don't know. You've got Team Texas in the house today, the former Team Texas. Of course, my co-pilot, Katie, is in Oklahoma. But when we first started facilitating, we were the two Texas girls. So yeah, we're going to go with the flow today. The interesting thing is that I ended up with the three setups this weekend. So if this one is tricky, I will be doing another one in the morning. I'm going to update my computer and hopefully that will calm things down. So just the video is lagging a bit. I'm so sorry, my friends. I had worked outside today with my computer and left it, ran back in, put it on my desk, plugged in. I wasn't plugged in all the way. It died all the way down, and it's just having a hard time kind of re-upping. So if we're a little janky tonight, I apologize. That's completely on me. When I'm finished here, I'm going to relaunch, do an update. But yeah, we have to go with the flow, break up with perfect. Okay, Phyllis, y'all are saying it's looking good. I think it's still going to be a little laggy. And I'm on satellite because I am at at the family cabin. So we're sometimes that also can get weird. All right, so I asked you as you were coming in to pick one little icon and then we would swipe over for your little self-care activity. And if you want to do them all, you can. If this inspired you, feel free to grab whatever you want for your self-care. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. And we're going to get going with full week number one with our flow mind map tonight. So I'm very excited. And I have changed up some stuff for our presentation tonight. Trying something a little fresher, and it's not always going to be like this, but I'll explain what we're going to do as we get deeper into our setup. But I thought I'd change stuff up a little bit. It's kind of fun to do that. So I see everybody is welcoming, saying hello. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm having some glitches with the video, and I do apologize. I'll be doing this setup again tomorrow morning. So if it's too glitchy and it's making you crazy, I'll be doing an update, and hopefully tomorrow's video can be accessed, or you can come just hang out again a second time. All righty, friends. So some housekeeping. Meha is inviting anybody who is not already using Sonder Coaching to give it a shot, see what you think, and then give her feedback. She wants to know how the experience feels as you get in that car and take it for a spin. If anything felt helpful or surprised you, if anything felt confusing, and then any suggestions to make that experience better, please share. And you'll do that by emailing her at meha@silkensonder.com. So, um, yeah, Nicole, I don't do it every day. I actually hear from Jenny I start my Mondays about 10 o'clock with my challenges for the week. I do one time a week. And because part of it is I'm trying not to always be on my phone, which anyway. Also, there is a special Clarity Reset Challenge coming up. It's going to start on June 17th. This is a paid add-on. They're asking, $5 or pay what feels right. It's a little bit of a focus challenge to kind of get you reset mid-year, that kind of thing. I'm sure it will pair nicely with our mid-year reset, which will be the same day. This starts on June 16th, and it's a week challenge. I love a challenge, right? And then that night, we're going to have the mid-year reset, and it'll be hosted by Meha, and then our fabulous Maya Martin Glenn will be hanging out with you in the chat that evening. And we all love our fresh journals every month. That's one of the magical components, I think, of our whole Silk and Sonder journey. But we know that sometimes we get in a mid-year slump, Or life has just thrown us, some things that we weren't expecting. And so what fit nicely in January might not be what we need right now. And so it's a good time to sit back and evaluate where you are. If you need to, change anything, hone anything. So, whatever. You may need to have a reset. You may go and go, you know what? I'm right on track and I like knowing that. So it's going to be anytime we can hang out with Mayha is wonderful. I still get glitchy here on my end. I don't know what y'all are seeing, but my attention deficit is really being put to the challenge today. I might have to quit having my camera where I can see. Okay, and then we're gonna get going with our setup. So here are those community guidelines when we're together. We always remind each other about this space, this time, this gathering. We ask you to please be kind and courteous to yourself and others. Limit repeat questions about any accessories or products. It's really great to go use the app to ask those kinds of things. Certainly every now and then it's okay, but like if you're wanting a list of 100 pins that don't bleed through, that might not be that might not be the chat's not the place to put it. If you have, I know that's what I need to do, Christy, is just not have that up. If you have any questions about your Silk and Sonder journey, suggestions, hello@silkandsonder.com is our customer care email, and they'll get back to you. And it's normally a Monday through Friday operation. And then finally, these socials are a way that we can help elevate our mental, emotional health through being with community. I know so many of y'all already know what you want to do this week, but you are here because of one another. And so this community will kind of, give you that support. We love this virtual community. It's one of the best pieces of my life. And let's see. I was going to ask, is there anybody joining us for the first time? If you are a first time socialer, please put that in the chat so that we can give you a big, big welcome. You come to these enough and you get to know all these amazing people. You can see how everybody is welcoming one another and they're just so glad to see each other. So, we've got our new theme of flow. I hope you've had a fun week embracing it since Monday. You've started thinking about what flow looks like in your life. And this graphic is a really good reminder that flow is, you see that green line there. That is a sweet spot. And the sweet spot is between getting finding yourself in flow means that you are being challenged and you are using your skills in a balanced way. And then when you can kind of land there in that sweet spot, you have found flow. Now, if it's more of a challenge, that can create anxiety of whatever you're doing. Maybe think about something you've tried to learn that just wasn't your thing. It just caused anxiousness. Or if it's something that doesn't challenge you and you're just using your skills, but there's no challenge, you may find yourself tuning out or getting bored. So, flow truly is about finding your sweet spot. So, I hope that you've sort of been exploring that as you've leaned into this first few days of the theme. I have this graphic, I think it's a great one. Because lots of things need to happen for a flow moment to, all these things converge. And it's about having clear goals and immediate feedback. So that tells us that our goals need to be, smart goals, measurable, simple, um, very easily attained. We want to balance that challenge and skill, like I was saying. You want to feel rewarded, that self-rewarding. You do it for just you. You lose time. We always say this hour together creates a time distortion. It's Silk and Sonder time is a flow state. Loss of self-consciousness, focus, concentration, merging of action and awareness. and a sense of potential control. So, all these different things, yeah, I love that, Nikki. Yeah, jack up the flow. All those things have to happen for this. We just think, oh, I want to find my flow, but it really is a very special time out, in our life when all of those things converge and come together. Greta, I love that you pointed that out. Paint by number is actually one of the artist date bingos on the app, and I'm going to be speaking to that in just a little bit, so you can go check that off on the app. All righty, so let's talk about our agenda. It's going to be our mind map. If you are here for the first time, 4 weeks of flow. And I'm going to shout out to Katie, my co pilot tonight, because she is the creator of this month's flow mind map questions. Y'all are going to love them. Then we're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection from this past week, and then we'll get on with our setup. And again, it's going to look a little different tonight. I thought I'd change things up just a smidge. All righty. So find that space in your journal. It can be your weekly scratch pad, the definition page, the last page. Maybe you repurpose a tracker you don't use, like the expense tracker or sleep tracker. It could go on the quote page. I even saw somebody do. They did their flow acrostic on the coloring page, but there's plenty of room on that coloring page if you wanted to put quadrants there and write around that little turtle. Whatever you want to do, trace your driver's license, get a cookie cutter, whatever flow looks like. I've got mine. I'll show you what mine looks like. So every week, we're going to be peeling back a layer of the theme. And we have this week, and you can see the topics too. All 4 weeks' topics are there. So this week is your current flow. And our question is, if my energy moves like water, where would it naturally want to flow right now? So consider your energy. But you can see week 2 will be break from the flow. Week 3 will be around the flow. And week 4 will be in the flow. So that can also kind of be exciting to get it set up. So let me show you. I want to talk very quickly and then I'll show you what I did. There is our question. I love this quote. May what I do flow from me like a river, no forcing and no holding back, the way it is with children. Then, in these swelling and ebbing currents, these deepening tides moving out, returning, I will sing you as no one ever has, streaming through widening channels into the opening sea. I love that visual. So I want you to visualize yourself standing beside a river of your own energy. So that means you need to check in with yourself. What is your energy like right now? And then just observe where it wants to go. See what you notice. And then consider maybe if I stop forcing my energy in a particular direction, like just go with the flow, where would it naturally flow? Right? What might happen if I trusted that movement? Where is my energy already flowing with ease and aliveness? And how can I linger there a little longer? So I took mine in this direction. And y'all, this is actually where I am right now. This is our family cabin is on Lake Buchanan, but it's really off of a creek. And so the picture on the left was uh, August of 2024, and the picture on the right is August of 2025. We had gone dry until those terrible, terrible storms last summer. And so I wrote to that. I was here and it just my little creek just spoke to me. And I wrote, I feel like my energy is a bit like our creek. It's been a little evaporated and there hasn't been much movement as of late. And again, many of you know I lost my best friend brother in March, and I've been just kind of on this grief journey. And that's what it felt like. Like some of me was a little evaporated. However, fresh rains, which kind of disguise themselves a new perspective on a new normal, are refilling the creek and giving it life again. The creek is waking up and returning to a gentle flow, finding its way back, changed for the future. And so that's the like I had this literal real thing in front of me. Like something terrible happened last summer to fill this creek back up. Y'all may remember the terrible floods that Central Texas had. And and yet, now we have this beautiful body of water, and it just felt like kind of where I've been in my journey, losing Greg. And so that when I think about where my energy is, I have been off, but that's kind of the direction that I went with this week's prompt. I did mine on the last page. I drew those flow lines and got my colored pencils out. So I'm going to put on some music. I'm actually going to give you about 5 minutes so that you can sort of get your page set up as well. And, let us know like what may come up for you as you consider your energy right now and what that looks like through this lens of flow. I'll get this music. right. Good work getting going on that. The things that you shared are so lovely. Thank you for doing that. This may be one that bounces around in your brain for a little bit while we figure out energy and flow and this natural place that it wants to go. You don't have to answer at the socials. You can be thinking about, letting it kind of, I always say marinate or bounce around in your head. But thank you for starting our mind map with us and thinking about your energy moving like water. And maybe, as we go through, if you feel like, oh, if I could just let it naturally go, maybe that could be something that you sort of frame out as you set up your habits and activities and goals and to-dos for the month. If you're kind of fighting against where it naturally wants to go. And I would love to see your mind map set up as well, if you don't mind sharing in the journal or in a Sonder Club. So now, oops, I realized I didn't change my slide from last week as far as the page numbers. We are actually going to be on page 30 for your rosebud thorn reflection, not in May's journal, but in June's journal. And our rosebud thorn reflection is a way to have gratitude for what the week brought us. And so we'll start with kind of those thorns, those things that are challenges. And mine actually, my thorn and my rose is the same thing. We had Camp Grand Happy last week. And so I had my three spend the night for several days and I'm just tired. And so the thorn was that challenge of just being so tired and not getting everything done that I needed to do after Camp Grand Happy was done. But it was a success. And of course, anytime I can spend time with those kiddos is a rose because I know they're going to outgrow me. And then my bud, the thing I'm looking forward to is I got a date set with my Houston gal pals to hang out this summer for a weekend. I left all my people behind when we relocated from Houston to the Dallas area 6 years ago. And my grandkids are 8, 5, and 3. They are very busy. And I was very tired. So, yeah, let's think about what went well last week. What are you celebrating? Maybe something you did, or maybe something that happened to you that you're just giddy about, or the thing you're looking forward to, the potential of something down the pipe. It could be as simple as, I can't wait for Christmas this year because of XYZ. Just that thing that's giving you hope. It's so important to recognize that we do have things coming up that we can be excited about and look forward to. So that's why we do this exercise. All right, feel free to share in the chat. And yeah, we will support each other for those thorns and celebrate the good stuff with each other. right. There's lots of things to look forward to. Y'all have some neat buds, including little grandbabies coming. And oh no, Katie, I just saw that you are um starting off with the flu. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Oh goodness. All right. So we just celebrate your roses and your buds, everybody, and we hold space for you with the thorns. And sometimes it's all three. Like if you saw there was a surgery, and so it was like a rose and a bud and a thorn, all the things in one. So sometimes that happens too. All righty. So I'm going to encourage you again to share your weekly planner after we set up. And let's get going with our weekly planner. Now, I mentioned I wanted to try something a little bit different. So you can just put your pen down for a sec. Well, you don't have to put your pen down, but we're not going to quite go pen to paper unless you see something that really sparks your excitement. Normally, we share lots of different things to consider for your spaces. Of course, you're invited to use these spaces just as they are printed, but you can set them up to be different, to work for what you have in your life. So maybe you don't need goals, but you need to put a little tracker in those 3 weekly goals. It's really about taking what you need. So we share lots of different graphics, and I thought tonight it would be fun, or this afternoon, it would be fun to go through lots of inspiration before we tackle our pages. Sometimes our inspiration comes sort of toward the end, and then you're like, I would have loved to put that in my 3 major goals, but I've already filled that page out. So I'll go through a lot of inspiration first, then we'll look at page one and work on that. And then I'll put on some music. And after we work on page one, we'll go through some page two examples, but also these inspirational this cluster of slides you're going to see. You'll see again toward the end. So I've got them kind of bookended here so that you can get some ideas. So I wanted to first call out on the Sonder Club app. There are always a bunch of bingo challenges if you go to the app, and these can be very inspirational for any of the spaces in our journal, our weekly setup, our to-do list, or perhaps mind, body, soul. We do that. We've got the June Silk and Sonder Bingo Challenge where we tackle the prompts and things in the actual things that are going on in the journal. But then there's this idea of the things that may contribute to flow. So you might want to check that challenge out. And some of these things could show up in your journal, and they might show up as a little bingo space. So you can see a couple of examples. And those bingo spaces oftentimes will be our shopping list or the 3 major goals. Or maybe you draw it in your to-do space. But that could be a great way of filling this out, is going and looking at those Silk and Sonder bingos. All righty, whoops. We have a bingo that is called an artist date with yourself. And there is a book called The Artist Way by Julie Cameron, who is the person who made this quote above. An artist date has 2 parts, artist and date. Choose something enchanting to you. It's going to be very personal, and don't stand yourself up. And there's a little description about an artist date, but we actually have an artist date bingo in the app. So perhaps this artist date will show up somewhere. It's a great way to find your flow, to go just spend time with yourself. So this is a great inspiration. But like I said, get on your app and you can pull those up. I also love this little solo date idea. So perhaps something off of this graphic, go on a day trip, cook or bake something new, snuggle up with a movie and a blanket. Some of these things could be incorporated. Maybe this is what happens in your habit and activity tracker this week. All righty. We've got some self-care ideas for June. You don't have to do it, in order. You can pick and choose things off of this calendar to inform your weekly setup pages. And we've always got Silk and Sonder has started creating these monthly theme calendars. And so this week starts on the 8th, obviously, and I am using my meal plan to write in the prompts or the reflection moments from the Silk and Sonder calendar. And this one's 30 days of flow, and the second week is all about ease. So I'm excited about that. So maybe you'll choose to grab that calendar. You can look for it, it's on the Facebook page and it's in Instagram. You'll just need to scroll down, but that 30 days of flow will be kind of a neat thing. I love the monthly calendars, Nikki, and Katie and I were laughing about you start following accounts that do these 30 days of, and then you get more and more and more. And then y'all remember the summer reading program when y'all were kids? So perhaps you create your own summer reading program. My library actually does a grown-up version of this. I don't know. I think we get a pin at the end of the summer, but maybe you think of some prizes for yourself. Yes, book it, pizza, all that. So I have a summer reading bucket list from the New York Times book review. Book review, and they have suggested maybe these would be fun ways to pick books. But you could create any kind of a list. A book that's blue, a book that's got a lady on the front, a book that's got children on it, whatever. Create your list and then figure out a way to incorporate it. And you can see here we've got a mind body plan, we've got habit and activity tracker, we've got the shopping list. All are incorporating this idea of reading. So perhaps this will show up somewhere in your journal. I always love to see it as a daily habit. Then here again is some more reading stuff for, you can see that there is a repurposed expense tracker doing a book list. Maybe you use that expense tracker and then fill it in with something like this bookish bucket list book thing, with like a little bingo board there, but like, do a spring unhaul. Like maybe you need to clean out your books, annotate a book. When was the last time I can tell you that last time I annotated a book and it was for a class and it wasn't fun, but oh, to do that just for myself and draw all over it. All right, so that's our book. Okay, then I had talked about the spoon theory last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. And this is really for folks that suffer from chronic illness, but we can take a nod to this ourselves. And the idea is that we start off with X number of spoons every day, and certain tasks will take certain number of spoons. So you can see in the weekly to do, someone has written on there, remember your spoons. And it's just, maybe one day showering takes 1 spoon's worth of energy. If you say you start off with 10 spoons for the day, but on another day, if it's like a flare day or a bad day, or maybe it's just a tough day and it feels like showering is more laborious and it could take up to 3 of your spoons. And the idea is you're kind of on this budget with your energy and have an awareness of spending your spoons carefully and mindfully. So this could show up somewhere in your setup. And I love the graphic on the right because that green blob on the side says wash your spoons to use again. Sleep, eat, be gentle to yourself, draw on support from loved ones. So those could actually, those items right there could show up somewhere in your planning this week. Then we've got the good chemicals. How are you making sure you're hitting up dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin and endorphins? And so many folks will use this in their habit and activity tracker, and they actually try to hit dopamine things and write in the word D. I've got an example to show you, but these are some really great things that could show up in your planning this week. Again, how we talk about all the time, digital detox, digital declutter. So this is a great graphic on how to curate the content you consume. We always talk about doing bloom scrolling instead of doom scrolling. And the more you follow happy things, their algorithm's going to change. And before you know it, you get 50 calendars and beautiful challenges of taking care of yourself. But you can see how folks have sort of incorporated it in their journal. This person on the upper right, distractions. So they made this list of distractions, right? Facebook, Instagram, and then they gave themselves something else to do. Sonder Club or Journal. Instead of going to game apps and Minesweeper, it was to go work on a hobby. And then we've got a list of digital declutter. So being very focused on how you use digital or how digital anything is used in your world. So that could be a couple of things that you incorporate. We also have looking for the glimmers. Those are the opposite of triggers. These are things that can really, it's like looking for those little roses, right? And so it's always very small things. And it may be that, you don't do anything different except you start noticing. Like it is magical that our water turns on and we can take a shower. That's pretty incredible. We take that for granted. So look for those micro moments in your day when you can just stop and enjoy a glimmer. And lots of you will set up glimmer spaces in your journal to track that. Here's a 30-day at-home self-care challenge. Again, I told you you're going to find a lot of those challenges if you start doing that. But maybe you change up your mind body health plan to be very focused on your at-home self-care, and you create a self-care tracker and maybe do one of these or several of these 30-day things. There's a self-care for mind, body, soul. Again, and a blank one for just a tracker when you do that. And I think the one on the right is actually the shopping list repurposed. We've got a 30-day challenge of decluttering your home. So think of chores, decluttering, cleaning, those kinds of things. And that can show up in lots of spaces. You see that we've got a weekly to do with the little watering can that says wash the walls and clean the kitchen. Just below it, that is an intention for house management. It could show up as a habit or activity like the one in the upper middle there. Maybe you create a bingo board with the things to do, or just a chart to mark things off, or perhaps your meal plan gets repurposed into this challenge of cleaning or decluttering. We always, always, always talk about the 7 types of rest. And so I love the graphic there when we should take a break. And it's when we're like going, like our tank is like going just past half, but we normally end up taking it when we've hit no more gas. And so finding your flow can be really easy if you really embrace the 7 types of rest. Pay attention to the areas in your life that maybe need a little more attention. Perhaps you need to do more creative things, and so you need that creative rest. So you can see someone has kind of done a 7-day, 7 types of rest challenge there in their meal plan. But perhaps you look and go, you know what? I need some spiritual rest. And so your whole tracker could be made up of spiritual rest. And yeah, so let's look at some. So there's that. I'm going to show you that bank of slides again, and let's go through this really quickly. We're going to now hit our pages thinking about how we want to feel. I asked you to check in with yourself with your energy level when we did our mind map. And so maybe, if you're not feeling so great, maybe you need to go to an opposite word. So drop in the chat now, how you would like to feel this week. What are you thinking you want this week to bring you? I'm seeing grounded and confident. I love that. There's a little word cloud. Maybe you put lots of words in your feeling space. There's no right or wrong way to do that. 1% organized is great, Nicole. I mean, 1% better. I mean, that's amazing. And you know you don't want to feel how you're feeling now, Meredith. I hear you. Positive, productive, calm, peaceful. There's no right or wrong way to fill this one out. You know what you need. And we'll take that now into those goals and to-dos. We always say, we want to remind you, go look at your start, stop, and continue space and your intentions page to inform your goals. How can you prioritize your flow? Maybe you do a personal challenge this week, or you get inspired by one of those graphics that you saw. Something to consider. There's lots of categories you could plug into these three goals and then plug the thing in to each one of them, or you do some no goals, some things you're taking away. Here are folks the words that they want to feel and then what their goals and to-dos look like. So they may be exactly tied into one another, or they could be standalone. But just some examples to look at. I love the colors. Y'all are so creative. I love this one on the bottom left. This week I want to feel, and lots of F words there. And I thought that was kind of fun and clever. But you can see that that one on the bottom there has four goals for the week. Again, it's about taking what you need. They're color coded so that their to-dos are there to support those goals. So that's pretty cool. And then we've got a little more or less framing. And again, those goals are tied directly into the to-dos. They're supporting each other. The one on the bottom, same thing. And you can notice there's like little mini tracker under the to-dos so that they can hold themselves accountable to make sure that they're doing those things that they said they want to do. And then finally, the habit and activity tracker. I love the first one there. It says check monthly habits. That's the only thing going into this tracker. That reminder that that's all you have to do is just one thing, and it's pointing this person back to that monthly habit tracker. Or you do something like setting affirmations, like the example you see there on the bottom. We've got some examples here. Look at the two on the right. They're both looking for that dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin hit. And so they will try to spell the word dose every day in their habit tracker. And then another example of using words, you can see the goal in the upper left. They're just wanting to spell the word peace. And so they're trying to get the word peace. If they don't get it that day, they're just putting a little heart there. But it's just sort of a different way of tracking. You don't have to set a number. This one on the bottom, they didn't set a goal to track. They're just going to track. And I love, like, they're going to do an active self-care. So what does that look like? And where could that be reflected? Maybe in the Mind Body Health Plan, or maybe they'll make a shopping list with a list of these self-care acts that they're going to do. And then we have some habit tracker ideas for you there. I'm going to put on some music. And I'm going to go all the way back through the inspiration slides and we'll go through this again and let us know what you will be doing this week. And if you saw anything that you might be trying for the first time. All right. As a reminder, this is being recorded, so you can always go back and grab a recording and find a slide if you weren't able to grab a screenshot, or you need a little more time looking at some of the content. And it'll be available probably within a half hour after we're done here. And you can just pause the video and grab what you need. I hope that I have inspired y'all to do a summer reading program for yourself. So now we're going to go to our side B, our page 2, with the menu plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list, and the I am loving box. And again, we're going to just briefly visit each one of these sections, and then I'll go through, including the slide deck of the examples. So here's a really cutie patootie one with our meal plan on it for the week. And I love the little gnomes. They're so cute. Cassie has posted several times that her husband does a little repurpose for her and draws her little graphics. But what if you have someone that is important to your life and you leave a space blank for them to either leave you a note or draw you a picture? I thought that that was a really neat thing. So maybe you have a reserved space for somebody to leave you a message. We've got workout stats being collected here in the menu plan, wellness plan, one good thing. Lots of different repurposing for that meal plan. And then, of course, we have the mind body health plan. And I always say this is a great space to really focus on your self care and what you need for for this week, for this time, for this season, as you are working on finding your flow. Or perhaps, it's your daily chores where they go. You can see lots of examples there. And then the shopping list can be used as a shopping list, but also lots of us love bingos or some kind of a tracker, a graph, maybe a social check-in because of the little graph paper that's in that space. So there's some great examples of that. And then we'll be back around to those examples of inspiration. Let me put on some music and I'll go through these one more time. Nathania said that she thinks she's going to use the meal plan to kind of do this little reflection on when she feels like she found flow, that she was in flow. Hopefully, Nathania, I hope every day you are able to fill in a little something that you're finding your flow this summer. So yeah, I hope that you saw something maybe to consider in either this week or an upcoming week as we lean into finding that sweet spot in our life. Think about what you are loving. Be sure to fill that out. I really thought that this one, honoring myself by doing what is best for me and not what others think is best for me, setting and sticking to boundaries. Mwah, perfect, perfect for what they are loving. We would love, again, to see your setup in Sonder Club. A reminder to that mid-year setup, you'll want to sign up for that. It's free. Katie's going to drop the link in the chat if you haven't already. I think most of y'all probably did last week when we first started talking about it. And then again, that Clarity Reset 7-day challenge, if you want to be part of that. You'll be able to start that on June the 16th. Again, starting at $5 or what you want to pay. And then there's our songs that we heard today. Thank you for your patience. I think everything finally smoothed out. Our computer issues went to flow. And I'm really excited that we got to spend this time together. Katie and I will be back in the morning for tomorrow morning's setup. So it'll be the same content, but if you're wanting to hang out, come hang out with us. I loved it, this little graphic. We need to add a little extra day between Saturday and Sunday. We need a Sunter day. So happy Sunter day to my Sonder family. I send you lots of light and love, and we will see you soon.
I drive a beat up car, a caravan, the color blue. Reminds me of your eyes and all the places we've been to. We're tethered to the leather, searching for a better view. It's interstellar when it's me and you. We're taking off. We're taking off. This is what I live for, baby. You're my open road. You can take me anywhere the wind blows, right into the great unknown. We can throw our hands up out the window. This is what we live for. We look up at the stars, a perfect night to dream with you.